Hey everyone, this is Rachel Duncan. I'm a financial art therapist and I run the Money Healing Club. And I today am replying to a subscriber question on my email. Remember a few weeks ago, I put out the question, what's going on in your world? How could I support you or think through some of the heavy emotions around money? And one lovely subscriber wrote to me this: hello, my personal money and emotional related trauma. And shame is such a vicious cycle. And then debt can feel so overwhelming. It's so easy to just fall into this cycle of keeping bad decisions going in the moments that are like, quote, well, it's already stressful. What's one more purchase? Hopefully that makes sense. Dear, okay, it makes perfect sense. And this is a theme we hear again and again in the club. Debt has a very specific kind of emotional quality. And I have a few theories about why. So I am not going to get in this email about things you should do, like how to pay off debt. There are tons of resources out there. There are lots of ways to do it. So I suggest you go there for like the practical stuff. But what I am going to help you through, which I don't think anyone else might, is the emotional experience of carrying debt and how you go about even feeling like you can get on top of it. So what I want you to do, if you have several kinds of debt, maybe different credit cards or student loans, car loans, I want you to just list them out. This is good for getting yourself organized anyway. Almost always, if you're carrying debt, it is tied to some story of survival. And I want you to think about each line of debt. Did that relate to a story of your survival? Here are some common ones I've heard. You had maybe a major health incident. You had a mental health issue at that time. You had to get out of a toxic work environment and maybe were between jobs, or you got let go, or you experienced a natural or social disaster that was totally beyond your control, or you had to step away from work in order to do some caretaking. Usually there's something like that there was a period in your life, maybe a single event or like a longer period, say the pandemic, where you needed to call on borrowing in order to get through. So first, list that out. Write a little bit of that story. I bet each debt relates to something that has to do with your survival. I want to ask you this. At that time, if you had had an emergency fund, would you have used that emergency fund for whatever you were going through? Was credit in place of an emergency fund for you at that time? Chances are it was. So if you're in a place where you didn't have cash on hand, credit is very available. Credit is a great tool to sometimes bridge difficult phases of your life. I want to extend a lot of grace to you for having needed to borrow some money to get through something. I hope that you can extend that grace to yourself as well. How is each part of your debt related to a story of your survival? Can we appreciate that credit was available to you to get you through it? Now, this is saying nothing about interest rates and how difficult and oppressive it is right now to borrow. I don't think it's going to be like this forever, but the crunch is real right now. So if you like this way of thinking about things, if this helps you feel like, okay, now I could look at that spreadsheet, now I could maybe feel like I'm not so helpless in my debt situation, please join us in the Money Healing Club, where we talk about this kind of stuff every week. Oh, I forgot one last bit. You said, well, it's already stressful. What's one more purchase? I completely get that. And that might be speaking to just a sense of burnout and overwhelm that you have, which is very understandable. And a lot of us are feeling that right now. And so what I would say is that feeling, it's already so stressful. What's one more purchase? That's a call for you to really bring in some really good self-care, to bring in community, maybe therapy, hobbies that really fill your cup. This is not a spending issue. This is a, how do you regulate yourself? How do you address your stress? And it's understandable that making a purchase is a very quick and reliable way to relieve stress in the moment, but we all know it's very momentary. It doesn't last. So instead of focusing on, oh, don't buy things anymore, that's not my approach. My approach is, how can we fill your life with so much goodness that you feel more padding for your nervous system, that spending is just one choice of many. I hope this helps. Please follow for more. Please write to me with more questions. I love doing Q&As. Let me know what steps you might take from this, or what insights you gained. That's maybe more important. What insights you gained from this feeling of giving yourself grace around debt.